What is the difference between being a business owner and being self-employed? Is there a difference?
It's actually a huge difference. And
It's
you
actually a
wanna know-
huge... Oh, hey, Nate.
Hey, you really want to know what the difference is. So
Stay tuned. Right, so I told you to stay tuned. You stay tuned. You made it through the and here you are with him live. It's Nate, Be the Hero, Nate Woodbury. I'm Scott Christopher. I'm not a hero at all, but you can check out my little YouTube channel by clicking
I
there.
hear a limiting belief in there, my friend. You are a hero.
Oh, well, that's so sweet of you. Now, let's move on. I posed the question that you asked me to ask, which is there a difference between being self-employed and being just a business owner? And you're saying there's a chasmic
Yeah, huge
gap.
difference. And it's important to know the difference. I did not know that difference early on in my life. When I first saw what I thought was an entrepreneur, it was my scout leader. He was a dentist. And I saw that he was self-employed. He was his own boss. He made good money.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided I'm going to be a dentist. And
Okay, fair enough.
I took a lot of AP classes throughout high school that I probably would not have
Went
taken
to med
otherwise.
school.
I went to BYU,
All
got
his
a
boards.
human biology degree.
Oh, you did take it into college. This
I did.
dream.
I took some
Okay.
pre-dental classes.
Oh, wow.
I
I was
observed at
kidding.
dental offices.
Man.
But then I listened to a book by Robert Kiyosaki, an audiobook. It was a combination of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. I learned what?
Nothing. It's good. It's fine. You just know, I'm like, you
Oh,
listen to audiobooks.
audiobooks.
No, it's fine. But were you doing something while you were listening, as I'm saying? Were you running? Were you driving?
Probably.
Because you know me, I'm like, just get the book and read it. But anyway, so all right. So the Rich Man, Poor Man, Kiyosaki.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert
Whatever.
Kiyosaki.
All right.
I learned that there is a big difference between a business owner and somebody who's self-employed. And it just caused a huge paradigm shift. So I don't know if you're going to have that huge paradigm shift in this video, but hopefully I can spark that, because once you understand the difference, it can make all the difference. Just being self-employed, all that means is that you've created a job for yourself. You're kind of in charge of your job, but you don't have freedom, and you're wearing more hats because now you're the boss, and it can be...
Give us an example of someone who's of
Well,
a job that's
let's-
self-employed
a
versus...
dentist. A dentist is kind of a combination of both. A dentist is mostly just self-employed. I mean, they're a business owner in that they have employees that do other functions.
Absolutely.
But their business does not run without them. Like if a dentist went on vacation and he wasn't there to drill the teeth, his practice cannot run.
Okay.
He can hire another dentist, and then that's when he steps into the role of being a business owner. He's not just self-employed.
Okay.
Because the other dentist would then be able to run his business while he's on the beach.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
that's hopefully an indication of a start of an indication of the difference. A business owner can actually work on the business. They don't actually have to be the one running it. They shouldn't be the one running it. They create a system. So I'm kind of a mix. I'm becoming more and more of a business owner, but I'm still in the mix of it a lot. I'm still running a lot of the business, but I've got a whole team of people. I don't do editing hardly ever anymore because all of my team does the editing. I'm still the guy behind the camera, but I've been exploring different people that I might bring on as either apprentices that I could train, or people that are already established as a videographer that I could just pay a higher amount, but they could do a really good job, of people that could, take the spot behind the camera. Which the more and more of my tasks that I'm able to systematize and train somebody else, the more I'm able to really think about the future and grow my business and become more and more successful. The more that I'm stuck in a job, I'm just in a rut from day to day, just working the job.
So basically, I mean, to me, it's kind of a fine line. And obviously it's a fine line. Otherwise, it wouldn't even be a question that would come up, because there's such a blurry, I just said it was fine, and now I'm saying it's blurry. But I mean, for example, if I'm a speaker, so I'm a keynote speaker and a trainer, corporate trainer in leadership and management, but I do it myself, right? And I am incorporated, I'm an S Corp or whatever, Scott Christopher Communications. I'm the president and CEO of this company, right? So I do own the business, but I am an employee of the business. I mean, I'm the speaker and trainer. So I'm a contractor and a freelancer, meaning our business gets work by me going and doing the actual work, right? Does that make sense? So in my mind, when I think of that, I go, well, I'm kind of both. I'm kind of a business owner, and I'm self-employed because I take jobs through other people.
I've got another way to define it, and let's see if that can
But
help.
what would you call me? Is that what you're saying? This other way?
Yeah, well, I want you to be the one to answer. So, if we were to define somebody who is self-employed as somebody who trades their time for dollars, and there's only a limited amount of time, so therefore there's only a limited amount of money you can make. You can get pay raises or increase your hourly amount, but your money is tied to your time that you contribute.
Yeah.
Versus a business owner, it's not tied to time whatsoever. It's tied to their ideas and the systems that they create. So
I see what you're saying. So like billable hours for me, I'm self-employed, and I'm making money off the time that I've been working, or the jobs that I do, as opposed to the much larger picture, which is this is a business that's alive and is an entity that.
So if you were to step away and stop putting in the hours, is there any part of your business that would still
that's
keep
the
running?
way you ask it. Yeah, that's it right there. If I stopped doing what I did, my business there would be no business. Yeah. And so how does this link all back to kind of your main focus and things?
Well, my main focus is actually not YouTube. My main focus is actually influence. And entrepreneurship is a big part of it. YouTube is a big part of it.
Sure.
For obvious reasons. So I love principles of entrepreneurship, and it's kind of an important thing to understand, the difference between being self-employed and a business owner. So I got a trivia question.
All right. I love trivia.
Let's see if you can guess. We'll throw a career out there. If you were an Uber driver, is that being self-employed or is that a business owner? What's your guess?
Well, I was an Uber driver.
Oh yeah, you've done it.
Yes, and Lyft, because I was so bored one summer. Oh, I would say self-employed.
Yeah.
All the way. It's their business.
Yeah. So the owners, the programmers, or the people who had the idea, who now own Uber, they're the business owner.
Agreed.
Right? And then all the drivers are the people running the system.
Yeah, we're self-employed all the way.
That's a pretty good business model.
Well, that's
they didn't have to buy any taxis. They didn't have to. They have the largest taxi fleet in the world now, and they didn't have to buy a single car. That's pretty cool.
True. Yeah.
They don't
hopefully
have to
they won't. Hopefully they won't wreck their business by their terrible organizational development.
I don't know anything about
practices,
that.
Human resources, but that's fine. No, you're good. All right, keep going. No.
So what's another example? Just throw one out there.
Of what?
Of a business owner or self-employed, and we'll figure out what it is.
A photographer, a professional portrait photographer,
Okay, so
studio.
Let's take an example, and let's make one photographer that's self-employed and one that's a business owner.
Okay.
So a photographer that's self-employed might have his own studio. He's the expert behind the camera.
Right.
People come in, they want a family portrait. He can take it. He can do a nice job. Maybe he's got some employees that will then do some editing and email it out and whatnot.
Okay.
But if he's on vacation, his studio is closed. But maybe it's easier than replacing yourself as a dentist. As a photographer, you could bring in a few photographers that are there helping you, and you could start to phase yourself out, working less and less and less, becoming more and more just the business owner because you own it.
I have I have a friend, Todd Cherry, who did just that. He started as a photographer shooting little kids events, sporting events, all these other things. And basically, he was it. And he trained a team to do exactly what he does. And he got a building and all the things that a business would have. And basically, he can just go home and sit down and do nothing. And his business runs. It's his vision. It's his goals. It's his everything that's happening there has his fingerprints on it. But he just kind of collects the money.
So he started self-employed, and now
He's
a
turned
business
into it.
owner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let me know in the comments below, did that cause any type of paradigm shift? I'm just asking out of curiosity, because when I first learned these principles, it was a big change in my mind. I never realized.
Yeah.
I thought of what's a businessman. It was a guy carrying a suitcase or briefcase, downtown Salt Lake. I never realized,
That's
somebody owns
interesting,
a business.
because the question then would be, maybe you would answer this as well while you're doing comments, is which do you think you'd prefer? I mean, this is definitely a pro-business owner conversation because it's a bigger picture. There's more going on. There's more to be made, quite frankly, with less work. From a self-admittedly lazy guy, being a business owner is certainly what you would prefer. But maybe others would say, God, I kind of like that idea of being freelance.
Let me talk about the
I mean,
lazy, the lazy comment. When I was a teenager, my grandpa hired me to do gardening. He just made up jobs for me to make some money.
Oh, that's nice of him.
It was really nice of him.
He was a business owner.
He had a rose garden. It was like this big
I beg your pardon?
triangle area
It's a joke.
shaped rose garden. And he hired me to weed it. But the weeds grew back so fast. Like 2 weeks later, it'd be weeded again, and he wanted me to weed the thing again. And I'm just like, Grandpa, this is torture. He was paying me.
And pointless.
He was paying me, but I'm just like, he didn't want me to, but I kind of twisted his arm, and I weeded it, and then I put down the weed blocker tarp and
Right,
put
the
wood
tarp.
chips on top of it.
Yeah.
So that then 2 weeks later, a couple months later, there were no weeds, and it still looked good. So when I say I'm lazy, it's like I just want to do it one time and never have to touch it again.
But you know, the kind of the moral of the story, which is you did it right, you did it efficiently, but you also cut off your own hand. I mean, financially speaking, you no longer have a job because you did it so well. So you met the objective, but you no longer get paid.
Yeah, if you're wanting to become a business owner when you're an employee, I don't know if that works so well.
You want to be thinking of annuities. You know what I mean? Just like things
It's
that
just
just
an
keep...
analogy.
I
There's
hear
some
ya.
holes in it.
I liked it.
All right, remember to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. We haven't said that one for a long time. If you ring the bell, YouTube sends you an alert every time we upload a new video.
Wow, there's a great song in there. You can ring my bell.